Some visits that they made, they even said on stand that they never even knocked on the door. They never peeked in the window. They never rung a doorbell. They never even walked inside my daycare. All the times they walked inside my daycare, they saw that it was up and running daycare. All the other visits that they claimed they made, which was well after hours that they are scheduled to work, they claimed that they just sat outside and they didn't see anyone between the time period that they were sitting in their vehicles, even though I physically seen them in their vehicles on some occasions.
So are the children supposed to be in the facility the whole time?
Oh, no. When you have a license, I'm allowed to take the children anywhere I please. That's why you have permission slips signed by parents that state that the children are allowed to go on field trips. So at any point in time, children would never even have to step foot in my daycare, besides the initial drop-off. We could be gone and allowed to be gone all day. There's no rule. I'm not breaking any rules by taking the children out all day, every day. And I didn't even have an event calendar that stated all the trips that I made, which coincide with a lot of their visits. Well, their alleged visits.
And I also heard that one of the staff's testimonies were that they came by and seen there was no feet print in the snow, which happened to be in a summer month. Is that true?
Yeah, could you imagine? It was in, you would say spring. Could you imagine where if you're at home, basically as an example, and I ring your doorbell because you don't come to the door, I immediately say you wasn't at home. But you might be in a bed asleep. You may be in the shower. I guess that day, I don't know, maybe I should have drew out snow prints on the cement.
So who were the authorized people as far as the staff that has caused you this kind of conflict and controversy?
Oh, it would be just about, to me, everyone that works for the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, because they all played a hand in it.
Are there any specific names?
Sandra Costello, you have Dennis Huff, you have her supervisor. The list can go on. To me, everyone that even testified on my trial,
So who was your supervisor?
My original supervisor was Emilio Fuentes, and I would say he was a great supervisor. He came down. He helped me with all of my paperwork. He was the one I was supposed to be able to call whenever I had questions or concerns or had any type of problem. He's the one I was supposed to call.
Now, is he a specialist or a supervisor?
No, he's a specialist.
Oh, okay.
Which is what they're supposed to be labeled as, not an investigator.
Who was Emilio's and Sandra's supervisor?
Oh, goodness.
Just remember.
Oh, Pat Harper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was Amelia's and Sandra's supervisor?
Pat Harper.
Okay. Have she ever contacted her or communicated with her?
Did I communicate with Pat Harper?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've actually met him.
Okay.
During this whole matter that was going on in the visits, did she ever come out, or did the regional manager come out?
Did any of the staff besides your licensor come out after you've spoken to her about this?
Well, let's be clear. My original license never came out again because I never got a chance. He was pretty much removed from my case. When I even called him to ask him what is going on because I was just in shambles, he told me he could not even talk to me on the phone. That, I guess, was my fault. That should have been a sign right there. Who can't talk to a person that they originally licensed less than 4 months ago? So Sandy, my investigator / new licensor, came out, and any other person she wanted to come with her, but no supervisor, no Pat Harper. Even when I met Pat Harper for the very first time, she acted as if she knew nothing about what was going on and that she had to check with Sandy.
You're authorized to be at your daycare as far as staff.
Well, because, like I stated in the beginning, I worked at Citizens Bank and I pulled in 40 to 50 hours. So I would go to my daycare in the mornings, days off, and right after work. And please bear in mind that my Citizens Bank and where my daycare was located was less than 3 miles away. The people that was authorized and who was cleared to be in my daycare was Reginald White. It was, oh goodness, I know what, I'm trying to think of, Ethelene Dawson and Carlene Gooseby, as well as myself.
Well, for them to take such aggressive force on you, you must have some kind of criminal background.
No. Working at the bank, myself didn't have any criminal backgrounds. My assistants didn't have any criminal backgrounds.
You've never even been arrested.
I've never even had a parking ticket on my record. My record has always been stellar. And I feel that not only was I harassed, but even my assistants were harassed. And just to give you some insight on how hard it was to even get my assistants cleared, my assistants used to work at another daycare. And just like if you're an attorney, you are an attorney for life. Just because you go from one law firm to another law firm doesn't mean you have to redo the bar exam. You are an attorney for life. When my assistants were cleared, they worked at another daycare. They went through all the background checks. They went through the fingerprinting. They went through all the proper channels and to make sure that they can work at a daycare. So this was just a matter of them transferring all their information to my facility. They went down. They got their waiver, their fingerprint waiver, and that was all that needed to be done. They were cleared. I was told they were cleared. I even called that department to make sure that they were cleared. I have documentation that says that they were, in fact, cleared by Sandra Costello. But whenever Sandy would stop at my location, she would try to tell me that they're not cleared, that she didn't have this paperwork, or that this paperwork was missing. It got to the point now that when I would mail her information or fax her information, she would claim that she never received it, which forced me to have to go to the senator's office to personally have someone in his office fax it over to them. And when that happened, then of course, naturally, they did in fact receive the paperwork after that. But it wasn't until I had to have the senator get involved to have this paperwork faxed over. Now, to me, if I was guilty, or I had something to hide, or even if I had a family daycare, I have to be out my mind to think that I would now want to go even further, to go to the senator's office with my legal documentation to ask for an assistance, which knowing that at any point in time, if they felt that I was lying or they wanted to investigate something, they could have. They would never put their name or agree to even get involved to send over documentation if they felt I was guilty. Because them, in fact, they too have to investigate to make sure whatever they're attaching their name to is legit, which it was. But this was also something that was brought up during trial that I was told I never did. But I have fax transmitters as well as all of my documentation that has his name and his office, all of my documentation.
So in closing, what would you like to say in regarding everything that happened?
I felt that I was bullied, I was harassed, I was taken advantage of. They ripped my life apart. I, at that time, was 27 years old, working at a bank. I just received an award of being #1 in the industry for business. I received a bonus. I never had a parking ticket on my record. I didn't wake up one morning in October 2007 and decided, hey, I got my license now, so let me make up a Phantom daycare. Why would I do that? I still had a career. I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I wanted to have my own business. This is something that I had a passion for, which watching children. It's something that I did. I raised my sisters. But to be bullied and railroaded and have my staff harassed and me harassed just because of someone that I know, because you have a vendetta against another daycare, that you wasn't able to maybe get whatever it is that you wanted to get from that other daycare, that's not my fault. That has nothing to do with me. And if I have people there, if I have children there, if I have parents stating that in fact my children did go to that daycare, if I have parents who signed the vouchers which agrees that the children did in fact go to that daycare, I don't understand why this was done to me. I feel that if this was a matter of safety for the children, then why was I still open 2 years after the first accusation, but yet there was no payment? I don't understand that. If it's safety for the children, you shut me down immediately. After the first accusation, you pull those kids out of there. No, what you wanted to do was try to dig up as much falsified dirt as you can. You wanted to try to maybe catch me in a crime that you couldn't. So all you did was just chump up a whole bunch of charges, a whole bunch of paperwork. You knew that, unfortunately, I wouldn't have the means to maybe even hire the top attorney that I probably would need because you stopped all payments and forced me into court. And yeah, I may have lost, but I lost off of circumstantial evidence. I didn't lose off of just black and white evidence. I lost because the jury couldn't sit back and look through hundreds and hundreds of pages to figure out what was going on. I didn't lose because the parents came on the stand and said, I agree with the state. Alder Cassiano did not watch my children. No, not a parent to this day stepped forward and stated that I did not provide the services in which I stated I provided for them. Not once. None of my assistants was ever brought up on any charges of saying that they lied on any documentations or that they had any criminal backgrounds. None of that. Even with my job performance at my job at Citizens Bank, there's nothing negative in my file. The judge alone stated that I had a stellar record before the situation even occurred. So in the end, I just want to say, thanks for listening, and hopefully you understand where I'm coming from, because I'm not the only one that's going through this.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Quinn, and I sit before this camera to introduce myself and a little bit of my situation and to why I am doing this video. I am the daughter of ELAQUENCE from ELAQUENCE Daycare Center, located in Buffalo, New York. My family ran, owned, and operated this business in the city of Buffalo for over 20 years. After graduating from high school and college, I began to work for my family's business as a daycare assistant, teacher, and entrepreneur. My mom's daycare and the family's business was harassed and illegally shut down. And she will tell her story so that you understand more of my story. In 2008, January of 2008, our family business was illegally shut down due to the harassment and the conspiracy of the New York State Office of Children and Family Services in connection with the Erie County Department of Social Services. What an awful day and an awful time during this economic hardship and time when all businesses were either dwindling, people's jobs were being lost, times were very hard. My mom and dad and family, we built the business from scratch. But on this dark, dreary moment in time, as I mentioned in 2008 January, the business was illegally harassed, bullied, and shut down, and we were run out of business. My son, whom you will meet later in this program, his name is Demario Quinn. My son graduated with honors in the outskirts of Buffalo, in the town of Amherst schools that he attended. He also had great jobs as a teenager, young man growing up, very well educated. The last job he had was for Delphi Corporation, manufacturing company in Lockport, New York. Again, as I mentioned, the economic times, hardships, a lot of individuals were losing their jobs. My son was someone that was about to lose his job in 2008 of February. He was forced to take a buyout, and he did so. And at the time, our family business was hurting and being illegally shut out and shut down. My son, Demario Quinn, decided to operate a small family daycare business in our home. As he done so and received his license in February of 2008, we also were harassed, bullied, and kicked out of business based on my son having the last name of my mom and myself. The individuals and the staff, employees within the New York State Office